How's it going, everyone? Shiny Plume here with an update to my Dragonmaid deck profile. So, a little while ago, I made a deck profile on Dragonmaids after the new support came out. Since then, I took it to the Dragonmaid Discord, shout out to the Dragonmaids Den, to show off the deck and got a few suggestions that I didn't really think about. In this video, I'm going to go over the deck profile, so why I'm playing what I'm playing and what changes I've made. Then I'm going to talk about the matchups I had, and then we're going to go over a few combos, and then I'll give my overall thoughts on the deck. So let's get into the deck profile. We'll start off with the Dragonmaid monsters. 3 Parlor Dragonmaid. So Parlor Dragonmaid is one of the cards that's 1-card combo in this deck. So with the new cards, Dragonmaid goes from a deck that didn't really have any 1-card combos to a deck that had so many 1-card starters. And this is one of them. On summon, it sends a Dragonmaid card from your deck to the graveyard. And then all the human form Dragonmaids have an effect where you can, at the start of the battle phase, you can add them to hand and then special summon a dragon form of the Dragonmaid that's in the graveyard. So in Parlor's case, you can add it to your hand and then special summon a level 8 Dragonmaid from your grave. Next, we got 3 copies of Kitchen Dragonmaid. Kitchen Dragonmaid is also a 1-card combo. So what it does is, on summon, it adds a Dragonmaid monster to your hand, and then you discard a Dragonmaid monster from your hand. Now, this is usually a really bad thing that a lot of decks really like having their searcher, but this one comes with the downside of discarding one of your cards. And it has to be specifically a Dragonmaid monster. So it could be very well the one that you added to your hand, which usually is a bad thing. In any other deck, that's a bad thing, especially if you only have the one that you searched that you added to your hand. But if you add the dragon form of Kitchen, then it's full combo. And we'll explain why when we get to the extra deck. And then it also has the battle phase effect where it bounces back to hand to summon a level 8. Next, we got 3 copies of Chamber Dragonmaid. Chamber Dragonmaid was originally the best monster in this deck. On summon, it adds a Dragonmaid spell or trap to your hand, and then at the start of battle phase, it can bounce itself to hand to special summon any level 7 or higher Dragonmaid from graveyard. It doesn't have to be necessarily its dragon form. It can be any of the level 7 or higher Dragonmaids. The reason that this one is still not considered the best one right now, I personally think Parlor's the best one, is because of the fact that this is still 1-card combo, but it is the longest combo, and it's the only combo that consistently plays into Nibiru the Primal Being. Before we go on, though, I think I should explain why are all of these 1-card combos. So Lady's Dragonmaid is the new Dragonmaid monster that turns all of these into 1-card combo, and the reason why is it's a fusion monster, but you don't actually fusion summon it. In fact, you can't even change over for this card. What you can do, though, is you can special summon it by banishing 2 Dragonmaids with the same attribute, but different level. And then on summon, it special summons a level 4 lower Dragonmaid from your deck. And during the standby phase, you can fusion summon any dragon fusion monster by shuffling back the materials from your graveyard, banishment, or field. This card is ridiculous. Next, the last human form Dragonmaid I play is Nurse Dragonmaid. This one isn't a starter. On summon, it targets a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster graveyard and special summon. Then we got the 3 dragon forms I play in this deck: Tinkek, Lorpar, and Sermba. These Tinkek and Lorpar are level 8s, obviously representing Kitchen and Parlor respectively, and Sermba is the new one that represents the Chamber's dragon form. All 3 of them have effects that are somewhat decent. At the end of the battle phase, they can bounce back to hand to summon the corresponding Dragonmaids from hand. Sermba summons level 4 or lower. Lorpar and Tinkek summon a level 3 or lower. But in hand, they do have effects that are pretty good, but most of the time you don't want to see these in your hand. Tinkek, if it's in your hand, you can discard it and target a Dragonmaid you control. It gains 2,000 attack until the end of the turn. Lorpar says you can discard it, then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot activate its effects this turn. Sermba is you can discard it, then target any Dragonmaid monster that's in your graveyard or banishment and special summon it. So it's a great way to get your Dragonmaid monsters back, especially the ones you banished for Lady's Dragonmaid Summon. Next, for more generic dragons I played Dark End Evaporation Dragon. Dark End Evaporation Dragon is, you can banish a level 8 light or dark dragon from your extra deck to special summon it. And then when it's on the field, you can do one of two effects. The first effect is the one that really matters the most, is that you can fusion summon any Dragon Fusion monster using monsters from your hand or field. So it's effectively a polymerization. The reason that's good in this deck is for two reasons. The first reason is that it makes Dragonmaid Xiao, and the second reason is it makes summoning other dragons in the standby phase much easier. Next, we got three Bestials, Magnemite, Jerusalem, and Baldrake. In my original video, I just had Magnemite and Jerusalem, but I've since added Baldrake just to round it out a little bit. You can target any light or dark monster in the graveyard, banish it, and then special summon the Bestial. It's a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster. And then all three of these have different effects. Magnemite is on the end phase, you search for a dragon. Jerusalem, if it is sent to graveyard, you can target a special summon monster on the field and send it to grave. If your opponent summons a Ritual Fusion Synchro Xyz a Link monster, you can tribute one other light or dark monster control and then target one of the monsters that was just special summoned and banish it. All three of these are really decent control pieces, but also they are level 6 dragons that would make making Xiao much easier. Now for the spells, I played one Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial just sends any monster from your deck to the graveyard. This is really good if your normal summon gets negated by like an Ash Blossom or an Imperm or a Veiler, so that you can still send the monster that you need to send to graveyard. So like for example, if you have Parlor and then it gets Ash, you can use Foolish Burial to send the Lore Part and still make Lady's Dragonmaid. So it's really comes in clutch for that reason. One copy of Changeover. In the original build I had 2 copies. The reason I bumped it down to 1 is 1, it's completely searchable by Chamber, 2, it's completely foolishable by Parlor, and 3, it doesn't come up very often. So what it does, it's a fusion spell. So you can fusion summon 1 Dragon Fusion using a monster from your hand or field, but the reason you play this instead of, something like Polymerization is not only is it searchable, but also if it's in your graveyard, you can target 1 Dragonmaid monster you control, return this card from your graveyard to your hand, and return the monster you targeted to the hand as well. Next, I play 3 copies of Dragonmaid Hospitality. Hospitality is mostly a card that you want to search off of Chamber Dragonmaid to make it a 1-card combo, but it's also just a great extender to have. Also, once again, if your Dragonmaid that you summon gets Ashed, Impermed, Veilered, whatever, and this is in your hand, you don't mind because you can still get the full combo. And the reason why is this special summons a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard, and then you send a Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level. So if you have Parlor in your hand or graveyard, for example, you can special summon the Parlor and then dump the Lore Part. So yeah, this is like one of the best extender tools to have in the deck. And once again, with Chamber Dragonmaid, it makes it Chamber a 1-card combo. 1 copy of Sangren Kaiman. No, I don't play 10 pies in this deck. This is to search Kitchen Dragonmaid because you can just add a level 4 Fire Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. Basically, it turns 9 1-card starters into 10 1-card starters, and that's why you play it. And then lastly, for the engine, we got 3 copies of Dragonmaid Tidying. It has 2 effects. First effect is you can target a dragon monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls or in their graveyard and return it to the hand. This is a great way to basically use a compulsory evacuation device for one of your opponent's cards, not even just one of their monsters, and one of your own. But the main reason it's played is for its second effect. If it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to special summon any Dragonmaid from your graveyard, but return it to the hand at the end phase. This is a great way to grind a little bit more, get some recovery, and if, say your Lady's Dragonmaid or your Dragonmaid Xiao goes to graveyard, you can get it right back. The only downside is that its effects are once per turn and only once that turn, so you can't use both effects on the same turn. I kind of wish you could. Next, we got the non-engine. This is the part that changed the most about this deck. So for the non-engine, 2 Nibiru, 2 Ghost Bell, 2 Ghost Ogre, 3 Droll, 3 Fualos, 1 Talent, 1 Called by the Grave. For the extra deck, starting with the Link monsters, we got 1 Striker Dragon. This just is a extender to get a Dragonmaid to your graveyard because it requires a level 4 or lower dragon monster. You don't really play it for any other reason. It's just to get a Dragonmaid into the graveyard, and it makes Chamber 1-card combo. 1 Spirit with Eyes of Blue. I got so many questions from people as to why I play this card. It's just another copy of Striker Dragon, except that it locks you into dragons, which is your entire deck. 2 copies of Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Its effect's pretty good. So you contribute 1 dragon monster you control, it could be itself, and then you non-targeting return a face-up card on the field to the hand. And then, if this is tributed, you can start to summon any dragon from your deck, but its attack and defense becomes 0, but it does not negate the effects of the dragon you summon. 1 SP Little Knight. This card is just generically good. Onto the fusions, we got 1 Borreload Furious Dragon. This requires 2 Dark Dragon monsters, and has a quick effect. You can target 1 monster you control and a card your opponent controls and destroy both. It has a second effect that doesn't really matter. This doesn't really get summoned very often. This is mostly here to be a monster to banish off of the Dark End Evaporation Dragon, but it can come up. It's just a toolbox card. We got 1 copy of Chaos Star Source Dragon. Star Source Dragon is the one that you're going to be banishing most often with the Dark End Evaporation Dragon, because it's a light dragon, and then Dark End is a dark dragon, and we'll get into what fusion monster you make with that in just a moment. But it also is a decent monster to summon on its own. It requires a light or dark dragon monster plus 1 other dragon monster, and if it's fusion summon, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of lights or darks that were used in its fusion summon and destroy them. So it could potentially pop 2 cards. Then, we got 1 copy of Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. This is the payoff for playing the Dark End Evaporation Dragon. Level 8 Light Dragon and level 8 Dark Dragon. Notably, Lady's Dragonmaid is a light level 8 dragon, but Sermba is a level 9, so you really can't make it using that. It's 3 Omni Negates, which sounds really, really insane on paper, but in execution, the reason it is 3 Omni Negates is because those negates are mandatory, and they affect both players. So if anybody activates a card or effect, this monster loses 1,000 attack and defense, negate the activation, and destroy the card. Yeah, so it effectively shuts down effects for both players until the negates are depleted, or or if you're clever with your chain links. So it goes either way. The other reason is that if it's destroyed by an opponent's card, you can target any dragon in your graveyard and special summon it. So if your board gets wiped, guess what? You get a monster anyway. So funny thing about this card, because its negate is mandatory, if somehow it itself gets negated, say like a Forbidden Droplet, this still activates as Chain Link too. It has to. But it obviously will resolve negated. But yeah, it's still a pretty good card to go into, because effectively, if your opponent has no way to play around it, you end on basically 4 Omni Negates. For the last non-Dragonmaid fusion monster I played, Philia Regis. This one might as well be a Dragonmaid monster. It reads like a Dragonmaid monster. It requires a Dragon Fusion and any other level 7 or higher Dragon monster. And during the main phase, either main phase, you can quick effect target a card your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish it. But if you target something on the field, you have to return a dragon you control to the hand, which in Dragonmaids is not a downside. And then during the battle phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can bounce a dragon you control to the hand to special summon it. So once again, reads like a Dragonmaid monster. I don't know why this is not a Dragonmaid monster. But yeah, this card's insane. The card's a really good end board piece if you don't want to go into Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. And I still highly recommend playing it in any build of Dragonmaid. Onto the Dragonmaid fusions, 2 copies of Lady's Dragonmaid. I alluded to this earlier. This makes a bunch of your Dragonmaid monsters 1-card combo, because you just banish a Dragonmaid you control and Dragonmaid in your graveyard that are the same attribute with different levels. So Parlor Dragonmaid plus Lore Power, Chamber plus Sermba, or Keisha plus Tinkek are the main ways to do it. And then on special summons a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid from your deck. And during the standby phase, so each standby phase, your opponent's and yours, you can fusion summon any dragon fusion monster by shuffling back the materials from field, graveyard, or banishment. This card is ridiculously powerful. It's so powerful that it turned this deck into a deck full of 1-card combos, and way more consistent than it ever was before. Next, we got 2 copies of House Dragonmaid. The main reason I'm still playing this is because you kind of have to if you're playing Xiao, but its effect does come up sometimes. During the standby phase, You can target a Dragon Maid you control and special summon a Dragon Maid from your graveyard or hand that is 1 level higher, 1 level lower. Its other effect is if a dragon is bounced, you can target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it. That's not once per turn. So fill your Regis, Dragon Maid Tidying, and all of the Dragon Maid monster effects during the battle phase and end of battle phase all proc this card. It's ridiculous. Finally, we got 2 copies of Dragon Maid Xiao. It requires a Dragon Maid monster plus a level 5 or higher dragon monster. So you can use Dark End Evaporation, or you can use Bystials to make this, if you don't want to use like the Dragon Maid monsters themselves. Obviously you use one Dragon Maid monster, but it could be any of them. And of course, Lady's Dragon Maid can make this by shuffling back the materials. During the standby phase, it can summon any level 9 or lower Dragon Maid monster from your hand or graveyard, so it can summon any Dragon Maid that's not itself. And if your opponent activates a card or effect, it's an Omni Negate by putting this card back in the extra deck and special summoning House Dragon Maid. This card is ridiculous, and is part of the reason to play this deck in the first place. For the side deck, I played 2 Perulia, 3 Triple Tax Thrust, 2 Lightning Storm, 2 Dark Ruler, 1 Duster, 2 Evenly, and 3 D-Barrier. My matchups for this deck were Chimera Azamina, Fire King, Blue Eyes, and Mitsurugi. I ended up going 3-0-1, so 3 wins, no losses, 1 tie. My tie was against Mitsurugi, and it's because the game went to time. Game 1 lasted a very long time, but it was a lot of back and forth that ended up with me eventually conceding the game because there was not a whole lot of point with keep going with that game. Then game 2, it was a good back and forth again, but I was in the winning position, so he ended up surrendering, and then we didn't have time to start game 3. So it ended up in the draw. But that's fine because the other matchups were wins. So why did I build the deck this way? Because I've seen a lot of people talk about things like the Dragon Ruler version or Dragon Link version, or I've even seen people talk about a Blue Eyes build, and I'm playing Spirit. Well, the reason why I chose this variant over any of the other variants is this one is the best variant that I find that plays around both Nibiru and Droll Lockbird, which are 2 hand traps that have been massively played this format. And it also plays pretty well against the Charmies. Now, the downside to this deck, of course, is the 1-for-1 hand traps. Ash, Imperm, Veiler, even Ghost Ogre. However, I built it in a way where it has enough extenders that there are combos you can do even if those 1-for-1 hand traps are used against you. So things like the Dark End Evaporation Dragon and the Hospitality come up clutch in those instances. That's it for the Dragon Maid deck profile. So next we're going to go over a few combos you can do with this deck. So the first combos I want to show off is a 1-card combo using either Kitchen or Parlor. This is not necessarily a 2-card combo that uses both. This is just a combo that uses either one because they can be used interchangeably, basically. To start off with normal summoning Parlor, or Kitchen Dragon Maid, doesn't really matter. And then you activate its effect to Foolish a Dragon Maid card, or use the effect to add a Dragon Maid monster and discard a Dragon Maid monster. In the case of Parlor, you want to Foolish Burial a Dragon Maid Lorpar. In the case of Kitchen Dragon Maid, you want to add Tinkik and discard Tinkik. The reason these can be used interchangeably is because either way you have a Dragon Maid monster in your field and a Dragon Maid monster in your graveyard that have the same attribute with different levels. So you would Contact Fuse by banishing the 2 Dragon Maid monsters to summon Lady's Dragon Maid. Then you can activate Lady's Dragon Maid's effect on summon to special summon any level 4 or lower Dragon Maid from your deck. In this combo, you would summon Chamber Dragon Maid. So you activate Chamber Dragon Maid's effect to add any Dragon Maid card from your deck to your hand. It could be Hospitality if you want, but the card that I usually go for is Dragon Maid Tidying. In this combo, you're actually going to set the Tidying as an interruption. Then, you're going to link off the Chamber Dragon Maid in order to summon either Striker Dragon or Spear with Eyes of Blue. It actually doesn't matter for this combo. Now, keep in mind, this is the 4th summon. You don't have to summon anything more than this. You can just pass turn here. And the reason why is because on the standby phase, because Lady's Dragon Maid effect activates, you shuffle back the 2 monsters that you have in banishment that you used to summon Lady's Dragon Maid in order to summon Dragon Maid Xiao. And then Dragon Maid Xiao effect activates to special summon the Chamber, and then the Chamber activates to add another spell or trap. So at this point, you have your Omni Negate with Xiao you have your tidying for a bounce, and you also have tidying as follow-up. So you can see how playing either kitchen or parlor plays around Nibiru, because you do all your summons basically on the standby phase, and by that point you have an Omni Negate even if you summon more than 5 times, which you don't during the standby phase. And you can see how it plays around Joel, because if you start with parlor, you actually don't play into Droll at all. You search with Chamber Dragonmaid and that's it. With Kitchen Dragonmaid, you do play around Droll because you can add and discard. You can get Joel immediately after, and if you do get Joel immediately after, I recommend summoning Parlor instead of Lady's Dragonmaid, and then Foolish barreling the Dragonmaid's tidying. The next Dragonmaid combo I want to show is starting with Chamber Dragonmaid. So you start with Chamber Dragonmaid, you normal summon it, and then you activate its effect to add a Dragonmaid spell or trap to your hand. This time you actually want to add the Hospitality. Next, you link off for either the Striker Dragon or the Spear with Eyes of Blue. It doesn't matter. Most of the time I like to go for Spear with Eyes of Blue so that I have Striker Dragon later, because Spirit locks you into dragons and Striker Dragon doesn't, and maybe you want to use the Striker Dragon to help make an SP Little Knight, who knows. So now you have Chamber in Graveyard. You want to activate the Hospitality to special summon the Chamber, and then send a Dragonmaid with the same attribute but different level. So you special summon the Chamber, and you Foolish the Sermba. Then guess what? You have the same idea. You have the 2 attributes with different levels. You banish both, summon Lady's Dragonmaid. Then you activate Lady's Dragonmaid's effect to special summon level 4 or lower. In this case, you want to go Parlor Dragonmaid, and then activate Parlor Dragonmaid's effect to Foolish Burial a Dragonmaid Tidying. Then you can link these 2 away and summon Spheres. Now in this combo, you actually end on Lady's Dragonmaid and a Spheres, and then on your opponent's standby phase, you shuffle back the Chamber and the Sermba to summon out the Xiao. And then, if you wanted to, you can either activate the Xiao to summon back the Parlor, or you can activate the Tidying to summon back the Parlor, and then Foolish Burial the Sermba again, and then use Tidying to bring back the Sermba. The reason Sermba is pretty good is that it protects your Dragon Fusions from being destroyed by card effects. In either case, the Chamber Dragonmaid combo does end on a lot more, but it comes with the caveat that your opponent can Nibiru you, but the times that they Nibiru are not optimal, because the first time they can Nibiru is in this situation where you have these monsters on the board, and you send Tidying to your graveyard. So if they Nibiru you now, you just use Tidying to bring back the Lady's Dragonmaid on your opponent's draw phase. And that's significant because if you get Nibiru'd on your opponent's draw phase, you can just use Tidying to summon the Lady's Dragonmaid, and then during the standby phase, use the Lady's Dragonmaid to fusion summon to the Xiao anyway. And the only other time they have a chance to Nibiru you is when they have Spheres on board, which, I mean, that tributes the Spheres, so you're just plussing at the end of the day. But that's it for this Chamber Dragonmaid combo. The third and final combo I want to showcase is one where you have any of these 3 names plus Dark End of Aberration Dragon in your hand. For the sake of combo simplicity, let's just do Parlor plus Dark End, but realistically, the combo should be the same as the 1-card combos, but plus a Dark End of Aberration Dragon, which will come into play later in the combo. So it starts off the same. You Parlor, you Foolish the Lorpar, you banish the Parlor and the Lorpar, you summon the Lady's Dragonmaid, then you activate the Lady's Dragonmaid, special summon the Chamber, and then Chamber adds the Tidying. All that starts the same, but now at this point, what you want to do is activate the Dark End of Aberration Dragon in your hand, and then banish the Chaos Star Source that's in your extra deck. You could also banish another Lady's Dragonmaid if you want to, but you don't have to. And then special summon the Dark End of Aberration Dragon. Then you activate its effective fusion summon using the Chamber and the Dark End. They go to graveyard. And then you special summon Dragonmaid Xiao. At this point, you can't be Nibiru'd because Xiao was actually the 5th summon. You have an Omni Negate on board. Then, during the standby phase, you can activate Xiao's effect to bring back the Chamber, and then Chamber searches for another spell or trap. Then, but it's very important you sequence it this way, especially if you want to summon the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, because, as I mentioned in the deck profile, Light and Darkness Dragon Lord's effects are mandatory Omni Negates that affect both players. So you want to get all of your effects that you want to activate during the standby phase out of the way before you summon the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. At this point, you can activate Lady's Dragonmaid's effect to fusion summon by shuffling back. In this case, you can use the Star Source and the Evaporation Dragon to summon the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. And there you go. You have 3 Omni Negates with Dragon Lord and another one with Xiao. You have a bounce with Tidying, and you have follow-up. Alternatively, you could also use the same materials, or you can use like this plus Lorpar or something else to make Filia Regis. And you can make Filia Regis instead if you're not feeling comfortable making the 3 Omni Negates. And instead you just want to make a Banish card, which is really good anyway. But that's it for the 1.5 card combos of Dark End plus any of the 1 card starters. But that's it for this Dragonmaid deck profile. What did you guys think of this video? Let me know in the comments. Did you guys enjoy this style of video where I go over the deck profile and some combos? And yes, I will still be making shorts. In fact, part of why I'm making the video structured this way is that it can be easier to split some things into shorts if I want to do like the deck profile in a short or some of the combos into a short. So during the end phase, Heather goes back. Thank you all for watching. Peace.